It's time!
The crypto industry has a more than apparent dark side that is regularly covered in the mainstream news. Fraudsters, hackers, scammers, they are the anonymous threats traders face every day. But there are even worse threats hiding in plain sight. Public-facing individuals that either are or support fraudsters, hackers, and scammers. These are the top 5 worst people in cryptocurrency. So let's get it, because it's time for Chico Crypto. Yes, the snakes in the grass, those treacherous people who appear seemingly harmless. Well, they are the most dangerous, as the damage they can inflict goes unnoticed by the general public. Today we're going to count down 5 of the most dangerous crypto snakes who are hiding in plain sight right under the public's nose. Let's begin with number 5, who is pretty obvious, although they were able to gather a large cult following of supporters who still support him to this day. That person is Richard Heart of Hex and Pulse Chain. If you didn't know, Richard is a career criminal. For example, here is a bunch of the IDs he has used during the course of his career. Names like Robert Hamilton, David Julin, John Guzman, but a couple of the IDs have his real name. If you didn't know, it's not Richard Hart, but Richard James Schuler. And this leads us into his history. Using Wayback Machine, we can see Richard James Schuler was named as a spam king back in 2007. The article says, Peacefire.org owner sued Richard James Schuler and won, claiming he had received unsolicited email messages spam bearing deceptive information, such as a forged return email address or misleading subject lines. From Richard's own words, we can see he said this about himself back then. My name is Richard Schuler. I'm a 23-year-old multimillionaire, and I'm inviting you to learn how to spam millions of people per day like I do. I used to work for USAprescriptions.com. Now I operate my own online pharmacy business and is the single largest spam email marketing company in the world today. Then from this Crypto Traders Pro article, we can see it says, screenshots from between 2005 and 2007 show Hart, real name Richard J. Schuler, was investigated by authorities in Panama for theft and extortion, which we can confirm from this Google Groups post from 2007. They described 2 crooked Panamanian lawyers who belong to a criminal organization and open bank accounts, sign checkbooks, get fake passports, but also bribe Panamanian judges. It then says, beware of the new breed of young thieves in association with an old U.S. convict. That's escaping United States law. Who is this U.S. person? Well, it says, master sick mind of young thieves and extortionists, alias James Hart J. Richard, or charity lover with multiple identities, of who we think is called Richard James Schuler. Now, I'm not a big fan of the SEC, but this is a person that they got right. Richard Hart is a career criminal that took his spamming and Ponzi-nomics that he learned into crypto, and he sucked the life out of people who fell for his persuasive public speaking abilities. Now moving on to number 4, who similarly like Richard Hart is a great public speaker, convincing people they are something they are not. Plus, they have a giant cult following. That person is Charles Hoskinson. So what has Charles convinced the public of? Well, that he is some genius mathematician that was going for a PhD in this area before dropping out. But this was all a lie. In 2018, Charles tweeted this, I graduated but did not complete a PhD. I will return and finish it after I retire. I also studied a topic that has nothing to do with cryptocurrencies, number theory. Any credentials there wouldn't be applicable to protocol development or software engineering. Here's another example of him exclaiming he was going for a PhD but never finished. And here's the last example from the charlatan's own mouth, him saying he was a grad student going for a PhD.
One of the very first questions I had was, you said you were a student when you first heard about Bitcoin.
Yeah, I was a grad student, and it was good trying to
Getting your master's or PhD?
I was trying to get a PhD, and I ended up dropping out and never finished.
Well, Laura Shin did some investigation, reaching out to the colleges Charles attended, and this is what the colleges said. Charles enrolled half-time as an undergraduate in spring 2009, pursuing a math degree. His last semester of attendance was fall 2011. He did not earn a degree at CU Boulder. Then, from the other college Charles said he attended, this is what the college said about his time there. I can confirm that Charles was enrolled at MSU Denver as a mathematics major, mostly part-time between 2006 and 2012. He did not earn a degree. Charles didn't even earn a bachelor's degree. He was never enrolled in a PhD program. He lied and he lied some more. Now, this isn't the only time old Charlie has been falsely promoting himself and his cryptocurrency Cardano. I've made many videos about this, and I've included them down in the description if you want to check them out. Number 3 on the list, danger, stems from their position of power. They are dangerous due to the relationships they have built. And that person is Barry Silbert. Barry Silbert is the founder of Digital Currency Group and the crypto-focused investment firm Grayscale. He has power, he has influence in the crypto markets. But Barry and his company DCG has some dangerous ties to the deep state, which I've covered before. Let's listen in now. The DCG team mysteriously removed the team section from their website just a couple months ago, but using Wayback Machine, we can bring it back up. And scrolling down to board members, we can see 2 very important people on the board and board advisors, Glenn Hutchins and Lawrence Summers. Checking out Open Secrets, we can see Glenn is an avid donor to Democratic political candidates. And if we scroll down, we can see he had a specific hard-on for Hillary Clinton. I wonder why. Well, checking out the Wikipedia on Hutchins, we can see in 1992 he joined the Bill Clinton presidential transition team as a senior advisor, focusing on economic policy, and then spent 2 years serving as a special advisor on economic policy and healthcare policy for Bill during his time as president. And Glenn previously held a very important position. He was on the board of directors for the Fed, specifically the New York Fed, whose job is to protect the dollar at all costs. Glenn isn't the only connection to the deep state. Lawrence Summers is even worse. Checking out this World Bank profile on Lawrence, we can see his connections. It says former Treasury Secretary Lawrence H. Summers is one of America's leading economists. In addition to serving as the 71st Secretary of the Treasury in the Clinton administration, Dr. Summers served as director of the White House National Economic Council in the Obama administration, as president of Harvard University, and as chief economist of the World Bank. Digital Currency Group, and thus Barry is connected to the Clintons, to the Obamas. Thus they are connected to the current administration, the Biden administration that has been going after crypto. They are a dangerous group that has deep state ties. Moving on to the second most dangerous person in crypto that has probably the biggest cult following of all, basically a bunch of idiots that believe he is a saint and is critical to the health of the crypto markets. That is CZ of the Binance Exchange. Now, I've also covered CZ on multiple occasions, discussing his early pump and dumps in 2017 and 2018, his exchange allowing illegal operations, including laundering for drug dealers, fraudsters, scammers, and crime cartels. But many of you lately have been wondering why the price of Bitcoin has been going down, crashing the markets as a whole. Well, it's likely because Binance needed to defend the price of their exchange token, BNB, and was selling Bitcoin off to do this. Now, an investigative piece put out by AMB Crypto on Binance says, lately Binance has come under intense scrutiny for defending the BNB value by selling its Bitcoin holdings, and in turn creating demand for the exchange's token. Also, the recent suspension of SEPA payouts by Binance has raised questions about regulatory compliance and its reputation. AMB Crypto had previously reported how a number of analysts have accused CZ of manipulating the market, all in his bid to save BNB. And it looks like this is the case. During the time when the markets have been crashing, a known Binance cold wallet with Bitcoin had its holdings significantly decrease. The wallet held over 42,493 Bitcoin, worth over 1.1 billion last week. Today, that same wallet only holds 39,239 Bitcoin, worth just over a billion. Coming up on 100 million gone from that wallet, likely sold to defend BNB from going under $200, which would implode his BNB ecosystem. Finally, the #1 most dangerous person in crypto is the man behind the Tether cartel, Giancarlo Devasini. Everyone knows about the curious case of Tether, and if they have the cash that backs the Tether's stablecoin USDT, as even today they haven't done a full audit. But the man behind Tether, who unlike others stays out of the public's eyes, has an extremely shady past. From this Financial Times article on him and Tether, it says, in 1996, not long after he had left medicine for business, he paid a 100 million lira fine, then around $65,000 in a counterfeiting settlement with Microsoft. A decade later, in 2007, Toshiba sued another of his entities, Acme, for alleged infringement of its patents for DVD format specifications. But that article also reveals something special. Devasini was close with a certain someone, SBF Sam Bankman-Fried. It says, to outside observers, Devasini is an elusive character, declining to speak to the mainstream press and today maintaining a minimal online presence. But this is what SBF had to say about him. He's responsive 24/7, and he's not just responsive to crisis or unbelievable opportunities. He's responsive to day-to-day operations. FTX and Tether had major connections, sharing lawyers and more. I've done a video on this before. I've linked it down in the description if you want to check it out. Now, Giancarlo and his inner circle love to mock the crypto markets and people within them, as they have been manipulating them for over a decade in partnership with FTX, Binance, and others. Here's a clip from an earlier video of mine showing his wife and her art. Here he is at a Salvadorian crypto event with Samson Mao and his fiancée Valentina Picozzi, an Italian artist. And here is a picture of Giancarlo with his fiancée once again. Now let's check out a couple of her art pieces. First is a person with a sheep head holding a sign that says, "We are all Satoshi." Next, a person holding a sign with a sheep head that reads, "In crypto we trust." Is she calling Bitcoin and crypto believers sheep? Well, check out the last one. Some Bitcoin logos at the bottom, and then it reads, "Sorry, you're fucked." And then, "Sorry, we're not federal and have no reserve." Tether is not federal, and they have no reserve. This is why Giancarlo is the most dangerous man in crypto. Cheers. I'll see you next time.
The most trustless name in news.